The storm had ended, but the night was still cruel. Snow covered every street like a white blanket hiding the city's scars. A lone human walked through the frozen roads, his breath turning to mist with every step. His name was Aaron. He had been sent to deliver supplies to an outpost on the edge of the alien city, but now he was lost. The wind whispered around the broken buildings, and the faint blue lights of the alien towers flickered in the distance. As Aaron moved forward, he heard a soft sound. It wasn't the wind this time. It was a whimper, weak and trembling. He stopped and listened again. There it was, a cry so faint it could have been the voice of a ghost. He followed the sound into a narrow alley between two metal walls. Snow had gathered there, untouched. Lying near the wall was a small figure. She was curled up, shaking so hard her whole body trembled. At first, Aaron thought it was a child, but as he got closer, he saw her skin. It wasn't human. It had a soft glow like light shining under ice. Her hair was white as the snow, and faint marks ran along her neck, glowing with pale blue patterns. Aaron froze for a moment. He had seen aliens before, but never one so strange. She looked young, fragile, and terrified. Her lips were turning blue. She looked up at him with wide eyes that seemed almost too bright, reflecting fear and pain. "Hey," Aaron said gently, kneeling beside her. "You'll freeze out here," she didn't answer. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. She tried to crawl back as if afraid of him. Aaron held out his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. "Let me help." The girl tried to speak again, but only managed one weak word that Aaron couldn't understand. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. She wore thin clothes not made for this weather. Her bare feet were buried in the snow, red from the cold. Without thinking twice, Aaron took off his thick military coat. He wrapped it around her small body. The moment he did, she shivered even harder, as if her body couldn't decide whether to fight the warmth or accept it. He lifted her carefully. She was light, almost weightless. Her skin felt cold but smooth, and as he carried her, he could feel a faint vibration like a hum coming from deep within her. "Hold on," he whispered. "I'll get you somewhere safe." He started walking back toward the main road, carrying her close to his chest. The wind howled again, but he kept moving. The city was silent except for the sound of his boots crunching through the snow. Above him, mechanical drones moved through the sky. Their red lights swept the streets like search beams. Aaron pressed against the wall, hiding in the shadows. The girl stirred in his arms, her eyes flicking open for a moment. "Please," she whispered in a trembling voice, "don't let them find me." Her voice was soft but full of fear. Aaron looked at the sky again. The drones were searching for something or someone. He didn't know what she had done, but the way she clung to him told him everything he needed to know. Whoever was chasing her, she didn't want to go back. He turned down a dark alley, heading toward the old industrial zone. The buildings there were half destroyed, forgotten by both humans and aliens. He remembered there was an old storage cabin used during the last supply war. Maybe it still stood. As he walked, the girl's trembling slowed. Her breathing grew faint. Aaron checked her face. Her eyes were closed, but her body still glowed softly under his coat. It wasn't just light, it pulsed like a heartbeat. He tried to ignore the strange feeling creeping up his spine. He had rescued wounded soldiers before, but this was different. This girl felt otherworldly. She didn't look dangerous, but something about her presence made the air around him feel alive. After what felt like an hour, he reached the cabin. The door was stuck, frozen by time and ice. He kicked it open and carried her inside. The air was cold, but still better than outside. He laid her down on an old blanket and checked her pulse. It was faint but steady. He looked around for anything to start a fire. He found old wood, maybe from broken crates, and used his lighter to set it ablaze. The small fire filled the room with orange light. As warmth returned, the girl moved slightly. Her hand reached out and grabbed his sleeve. Her touch was weak, yet it stopped him in his tracks. She opened her eyes, looking straight at him. "You shouldn't have helped me," she said softly. "They will find you too." Her words sent a chill through him. "Who?" he asked. She tried to speak again, but her voice faded. Aaron looked closer and noticed the markings on her neck glowing brighter, reacting to something unseen. He pulled the coat tighter around her. "Rest," he said gently. "You're safe for now." The girl didn't respond. She closed her eyes, breathing slowly. Aaron sat beside her, staring at the faint blue light on her skin. It was beautiful and strange. Outside, the sound of engines echoed faintly. Drones passed overhead, scanning, searching. Aaron didn't move. He stared into the fire, thinking about what she had said. Who was she? Why were they hunting her? And what did she mean when she said they will find you too? He didn't know it yet, but that night when he wrapped the shaking alien girl in his coat, his life had changed forever. Morning came slowly. The storm clouds broke apart, letting a pale light fall through the cracked roof of the cabin. The fire had almost died, leaving only red embers glowing. Aaron sat beside the sleeping alien girl, watching her face. Her breathing was soft now, calmer than the night before. The coat he had wrapped around her still carried his body heat, and faint blue light still shimmered under her skin. He didn't sleep all night. Every sound outside made him tense. Sometimes he heard drones far in the distance, their engines humming through the cold air. He knew they were still searching. Whoever the girl was, they weren't giving up easily. Aaron stood and looked around the small cabin. It was old, filled with dust and broken furniture. He found a small can of water and a few food rations in his bag. He placed them near the fire. Then he turned back to the girl. She looked so peaceful now, like a child, but he knew something about her was different, something powerful and dangerous. A faint groan made him turn. The girl's eyes opened slowly. She looked confused, her glowing pupils adjusting to the dim light. She tried to sit up but fell back weakly. Aaron quickly helped her. "Easy," he said gently. "You're safe here." The girl blinked, looking around the small room. "Where am I?" she whispered. "An old cabin," Aaron said. "You were freezing. I brought you here after the storm." She stared at him, her expression unsure. "You're human." "Yes," he said. "Name's Aaron, what's yours?" She hesitated as if trying to remember. "Lyra," she said at last, her voice barely audible. Aaron nodded. "Nice to meet you, Lyra. You need food. Water." He handed her a small piece of bread and a canteen. She looked at them curiously, then took a careful sip. For a moment he saw her eyes fill with something like relief. But then her hand started to shake again. Aaron noticed a faint metallic symbol glowing on her wrist. It looked like a sigil, something military or royal. He leaned closer, but she quickly pulled her hand back, hiding it under the coat. "Are they looking for you?" he asked. She froze. Her eyes filled with fear. "You shouldn't ask that," she said softly. "They'll hurt you if they find out you helped me." Aaron frowned. "I don't care about that. I just want to know what's going on." Lyra turned her face away. "They called me property," she whispered. "They wanted to use me, but I ran away." Her words made his stomach tighten. He had heard of human commanders experimenting on alien children, projects hidden under research names. But looking at her, fragile and trembling, he couldn't believe she was one of those rumors. He reached into his bag and pulled out an old blanket, wrapping it around her shoulders. "You don't have to talk now," he said. "Rest." Lyra stared into the small fire. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Humans don't help my kind." Aaron didn't answer right away. He thought of the war, the ruins, the dead faces he had seen on both sides. Then he said quietly, "Because no one should be left to die in the cold." She looked at him with wide eyes as if trying to understand him. "You're different," she whispered. A sudden noise outside made them both freeze. The faint whir of engines passed over the roof. The window flashed red for a moment as a drone scanner beam swept across the cabin. Aaron moved fast, pulling Lyra down to the floor. The light faded and the sound moved away. Silence returned. Lyra clutched his sleeve. "They're close," she said, her voice shaking. "They'll find us." Aaron took a deep breath. "Not yet," he said firmly. "We'll move at night." She stared at him, fear and trust mixing in her eyes. "You don't even know who I am," she said. "Why risk your life?" He gave her a tired smile. "Because someone has to." Lyra didn't speak after that. She curled up near the fire again, holding his coat close around her. The light from her skin dimmed as she fell asleep. Aaron watched her for a long time. He didn't know what kind of trouble he had brought into his life. But he knew one thing: he couldn't abandon her now. Something about her, about the way she looked at him, made him feel like she was more than just a lost girl. Outside, the snow began to fall again. Drones moved across the horizon, red lights blinking in the distance. Aaron tightened his grip on his rifle, ready for whatever came next. He didn't know it yet, but the real danger wasn't the storm or the soldiers. It was the secret she carried, the truth about who her mother was. The sun was hidden behind thick clouds when Aaron stepped outside the cabin. The cold bit into his skin, but he needed to look around. The snow had covered their tracks from the night before. That gave them a little time, but not much. The air felt heavy and far off. He could still hear the faint hum of engines. He scanned the sky. Drones moved like dark insects against the pale horizon. They were spreading out in search patterns. Someone powerful was after the girl, and they were closing in fast. When Aaron went back inside, Lyra was sitting up beside the fire. Her glowing marks were dimmer now, her face pale and tired. But her eyes were alert, as if she had been listening to every sound outside. "They're still searching," Aaron said quietly. "We need to move soon." Lyra hugged his coat tighter. "You don't understand," she said. "If they find me, they won't just take me. They'll kill anyone who helped me, too." Aaron knelt beside her. "Then tell me who they are. Maybe I can help you get far away from here." Lyra shook her head. "You can't help me. No one can." Before he could answer, a sharp mechanical sound echoed through the air. Both of them froze. The sound grew louder, closer. Aaron moved to the window and looked out. A large drone hovered above the trees, its red sensors sweeping the area. "Get down," he whispered. Lyra crawled under the bed while Aaron grabbed his rifle. The beam passed across the cabin walls. The drone paused, its red light flickering as if detecting something. Aaron held his breath. Then suddenly it flew away. He waited until the sound vanished completely before lowering his weapon. "We can't stay here," he said. "They're getting close." Lyra came out slowly, her face pale. "They're using trackers," she said. "I had one on me, but I destroyed it before I ran." Aaron frowned. "Then how are they still following you?" Lyra hesitated. Her hands trembled slightly as she lifted her wrist. "Because it's not just a tracker. It's inside me." Aaron stared at her, not sure if he had heard right. "Inside you?" She nodded. "It's a genetic mark. They can find me anywhere if they're close enough." He sat back, silent for a moment. "Can it be removed?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But if I stay with you, they'll find you too." Aaron stood and paced around the cabin, his boots crunching softly on the floor. His mind was racing. He could leave her now, walk away and maybe live. But something in him refused to do that. "You're not going anywhere alone," he said firmly. "We'll figure this out together." Lyra looked up at him, eyes full of fear and confusion. "Why would you do that?" she asked. "You don't even know me," Aaron sighed. "Because once I saw you in the snow, I couldn't just walk away. I've seen enough people die already." For the first time, a faint smile touched her lips. "You're strange, human," she said softly. The moment broke when a sudden sound cut through the air. A loud voice booming from a nearby loudspeaker. "This sector is under search lockdown," the mechanical voice said. "A fugitive alien specimen has escaped containment. Any human found harboring her will face execution." Lyra's body stiffened. She looked toward the door with wide eyes. Aaron's heart pounded. "They're close," she whispered. He looked out the window again. Several armored vehicles were moving through the snow. Searchlights flashed across the trees. Aaron turned back to her. "We leave now," he said. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. She pulled the coat tighter around herself and followed him outside. The cold hit them instantly, but they didn't stop. Aaron led her into the woods behind the cabin, where the shadows were thick. As they moved, Lyra stumbled. Aaron caught her before she fell. Her skin was burning hot now, her glow flickering wildly. "What's happening to you?" he asked. She looked at him with frightened eyes. "It's the mark," she said weakly. "It reacts when they get too close. They're coming." Aaron carried her deeper into the forest. The sound of engines grew louder behind them. Red light beams cut through the trees. Lyra pressed a hand to his chest. "If they catch me, don't fight," she whispered. "You'll die for nothing." Aaron met her gaze. "If I die, it won't be for nothing." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The air was full of tension, the forest glowing faintly with light from the search beams. Lyra closed her eyes. "You don't know who my mother is," she whispered. "If you did, you'd run." Aaron didn't answer. He just kept walking, holding her close, his breath heavy in the cold air. Somewhere far above them, another drone changed direction, locking onto their trail. The hunt had truly begun. The forest was silent except for the sound of heavy breathing and snow crunching under boots. Aaron pushed forward, holding Lyra close against his chest. Her glow had dimmed to a faint pulse, but she was still conscious. Every few steps she opened her eyes, scanning the shadows as if expecting something to appear. Behind them, red lights moved through the trees. Search drones buzzed low, cutting through branches as they hunted. The wind carried the echo of soldiers shouting orders. The hunt was closing in. "We need to keep moving," Aaron said, his voice low. Lyra nodded weakly. "There's a ridge ahead," she whispered. "If we cross it, they'll lose the signal for a while." Aaron didn't ask how she knew. He just followed her directions, moving through the forest as quietly as he could. Snow fell heavier now, coating everything in white. The cold bit into his skin, but he ignored it. They reached a steep slope. The mountain loomed high, half covered in mist. Aaron looked up. "We climb," he said. Lyra stared at the height with fear. "You can't carry me that far." "I'll manage," he said. He tied her close with part of his coat and began to climb, step by step. His fingers burned from the cold metal and frozen rock. Lyra tried to help, gripping his shoulder, whispering warnings whenever she heard the drones nearby. Halfway up, a loud mechanical sound split the air. A drone came into view above them, its red eye glowing like fire. It stopped mid-air, scanning the cliff face. Aaron pressed himself flat against the rock, holding Lyra tight. The drone's beam passed just a few feet away. Then it turned toward them. Aaron pulled his rifle from his back and fired once. The shot hit the drone's sensor, making it spin out of control before exploding. The sound echoed across the valley. Lyra gasped. "They'll know where we are now." "I know," Aaron said. "We keep going." They climbed the last few meters and reached a narrow ledge. The view stretched for miles. Endless snowfields under a gray sky. Smoke rose from the forest below where the soldiers had begun to spread out. Aaron found a small cave near the ledge and led Lyra inside. The walls were smooth, shining faintly with ice. It wasn't warm, but it was shelter. Lyra leaned against the wall, her breath quick. "You shouldn't have shot it," she said. "They would have found us anyway," Aaron replied. "At least now they'll think we're heading north." Lyra's glowing veins flickered. "You're risking your life for me." "You shouldn't." Aaron sat across from her, breathing hard. "You've said that before," he said quietly. "And I told you." "I don't care." Lyra lowered her eyes. "You don't understand who I am, what I carry." "Then explain it to me," he said. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she spoke softly. "My mother led a rebellion against the human fleets. They captured her years ago, but they couldn't break her. She had something they wanted. A weapon, or maybe something else. Before they took her, she gave me something, part of her power. That's why they want me." Aaron stared at her. "You're saying she's still alive?" Lyra nodded. "If she isn't, they wouldn't still be searching." Aaron leaned back against the stone wall, processing her words. "And this power, it's inside you?" "Yes," she whispered. "It's buried deep. I can't control it yet. When I get scared, it reacts." Aaron remembered the way she had glowed brighter when the drones were close. "That's why they call you a specimen," he said quietly. "They want what's inside you." Lyra looked at him with tired eyes. "And they'll destroy anyone who stands in their way." Outside, the wind howled again. The snowstorm grew stronger, covering their tracks below. For now, they were safe. But the sound of distant engines told Aaron it wouldn't last. He glanced at Lyra. She was shivering again. He moved closer, placing his coat around her. Her glow steadied slightly, and she leaned her head on his shoulder. "You should sleep," he said softly. "We'll move when the storm passes." Lyra looked up at him. "You remind me of someone," she said. "One of my mother's guards. He saved her once. She told me he was brave and kind like you." Aaron didn't know what to say. He just looked at the cave entrance, watching the snow dance in the wind. Outside, a faint flash lit the horizon. More ships arriving. Closing the circle around them, Lyra whispered. "They'll come tonight." Aaron tightened his grip on his rifle. "Then tonight," he said, "they'll find out I don't run." The storm passed by morning, leaving the mountains quiet again. Snow sparkled under a pale light, untouched and pure. Aaron woke first. The cold had crept into his bones, but he didn't move. Lyra was asleep beside him, her head resting against his shoulder, her breathing steady now. The glow under her skin had faded, as if even the light inside her was tired. He stayed still, staring at the cave wall. He didn't know how long they could keep running. Supplies were low, his rifle half frozen, and the army would not stop. Yet even with danger pressing from every direction, he couldn't bring himself to leave her. There was something about her presence that made him feel that saving her mattered more than saving himself. Lyra stirred and slowly opened her eyes. "It's morning," she said softly. Aaron nodded. "The storm's gone, but they'll be moving again soon. We should head west, maybe reach the valley." Lyra looked out toward the light. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried sadness. "You don't have to go with me anymore," she said. "They're hunting me, not you." Aaron smiled faintly. "It's a little late to worry about that. I think we're both on their list now." Lyra lowered her gaze. "I didn't mean to bring you into this. My mother warned me humans couldn't be trusted. But you—" She paused. "You don't fit what she told me." Aaron leaned back against the wall. "Maybe your mother met the wrong kind of humans." Lyra's eyes glowed softly again. "My mother was the queen of the Arkena," she said. "She led our people when humans invaded our homeworld. She wanted peace at first, but your armies betrayed her trust and turned it into war. They captured her. They said she disappeared." Aaron listened in silence. He had heard stories during the war, rumors of an alien queen who nearly united half the galaxy against the human fleet. No one had ever confirmed if she lived or died. "So the stories were true," he said quietly. "Your mother is that queen." Lyra nodded. "Her name is Avelra. She fought for freedom, not power. When the humans took her, they tried to break her mind. They failed. Before they captured her, she gave me something. A part of her energy, her memory. She said if I survived, I'd carry her legacy." Aaron frowned slightly. "Legacy, what does that mean?" Lyra touched her chest. "It's not just memory. It's alive. Sometimes it speaks to me in dreams. Sometimes I see her, standing in the dark telling me to run." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "So when you glow, it's her energy." Lyra nodded. "She said it will protect me until I'm strong enough to use it. But I don't want to fight. I just want to live free." Aaron studied her face. She looked fragile, yet behind her soft words was something powerful, something ancient. "The soldiers want that energy," he said. "If they capture you, they'll use it as a weapon." Lyra's voice dropped. "That's why I can't be caught. If they succeed, they'll bring another war, not just between humans and Arkena, but across every world." Aaron felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. He understood now. Saving her wasn't just about kindness, it was about stopping something far bigger. He stood and walked to the cave entrance, scanning the sky. Smoke trailed on the horizon. The troops were still coming. Lyra joined him, her small steps quiet. "You could still leave," she said. "If they catch you with me, they'll kill you." Aaron looked at her and shook his head. "You think I've come this far to quit now?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Humans are strange. You fight even when you can't win." "Maybe that's what makes us human," he said. The wind picked up again. A faint humming grew louder above them. Aaron tensed, gripping his rifle. A drone was flying near the ridge. Lyra's glow brightened as fear spread through her. "They found us." Aaron grabbed her hand. "Then we keep moving." They slipped out of the cave, climbing higher along the icy path. Snow crunched under their boots. The wind howled louder as ships began to appear in the distance. As they ran, Lyra stumbled. Aaron caught her again. Her skin was hot to the touch. Blue light spread across her body like lightning. "I can't control it," she said. "It reacts when I'm scared." Aaron pulled her close. "Then don't be scared. I've got you." The mountain shook slightly as an explosion sounded far below. Smoke rose and the echoes rolled through the cliffs. Lyra looked back, her eyes glowing bright. "They won't stop," she whispered. "They'll burn everything to reach me." Aaron met her gaze, his face calm but determined. "Then we'll make sure they don't." He tightened his grip on her hand, and together they climbed toward the summit, where destiny, danger, and the truth about her mother waited. The snowstorm had returned, fierce and blinding. Wind roared between the mountain cliffs, carrying ice like tiny blades. Aaron led Lyra through the narrow ridge, holding her hand tightly so she wouldn't fall. The cold burned his lungs, but he kept going. Below them, lights flickered. Human soldiers were climbing fast, following their trail through the snow. "They're close," Lyra said, her voice shaking. Her glow was brighter now, pulsing through the coat he had wrapped around her. Aaron looked down the ridge. Dozens of red dots moved through the darkness. Drones, soldiers, and armored carriers. "They'll reach us soon," he said. Lyra's face was pale. "You can still leave me," she whispered. "They want me, not you." Aaron shook his head. "Not happening." They reached the top of the ridge and found the ruins of an old structure half buried in snow. The walls were made of dark metal, broken and rusted. Aaron looked around. This might give us cover. They moved inside. The structure seemed ancient, built long before the war. Strange symbols lined the walls, glowing faintly under the frost. Lyra touched one of them and the light grew stronger. Aaron stared. You know this place? She nodded slowly. It's Arkena design. My people built these during the First War. A temple for energy channels. Can it protect us? He asked. I don't know, she said softly. But it remembers. Before she could say more, a loud explosion shook the mountain. Aaron ran to the doorway. Down below, the human soldiers had reached the lower slopes. They were firing flares into the air, scanning for movement. They're surrounding us, he said. Lyra stepped beside him, her eyes glowing like stars. Then we fight. Aaron checked his rifle. The battery was half drained, but it would have to do. He took position behind a broken pillar, watching the lights grow closer. The sound of boots crunching in snow echoed through the ruins. Target confirmed, a soldier shouted below. The girl is here. Aaron's jaw tightened. He fired the first shot. A bright flash burst through the snow, hitting one of the approaching soldiers. Chaos followed. The troops scattered, returning fire. Red beams sliced through the walls, sparks flying everywhere. Lyra crouched behind the stone, trembling. You can't win this, she said. Aaron smiled faintly. I don't need to win. I just need to buy you time. He fired again, hitting a drone that exploded in mid-air. The sound thundered across the cliffs. More soldiers rushed forward. He reloaded quickly, his hands numb from cold. One of the soldiers climbed onto the ledge, raising his weapon. Aaron turned and shot him point blank. The man fell back into the snow. Lyra screamed as another blast hit the wall near her. Aaron ran to shield her, his arm wrapping around her shoulders. Stay low, he said, her eyes filled with tears. You'll die if you keep doing this. Maybe, he said quietly. But not before I make them regret coming here. A plasma grenade landed near them. Aaron grabbed it and threw it back down the slope. It exploded mid-air, sending snow and debris flying. The blast threw him backward. He hit the wall hard and groaned in pain. Blood ran down his temple. Lyra crawled to him. Aaron, she said desperately. You're hurt. He tried to stand. I'm fine. Keep. Before he could finish, soldiers rushed in from the other side. He raised his rifle, but it was too late. One of them fired, and the shot hit him in the shoulder. He fell to one knee, the weapon dropping into the snow. Lyra screamed, and the glow around her body flared brighter than before. The markings on her skin burned like blue fire. Her eyes turned almost white. The air began to vibrate. The soldiers stopped, confused. The ground under their feet started to tremble. Lyra rose slowly, her hair floating as if caught in an invisible wind. Stay back, she said, her voice echoing with another tone, deeper, older, filled with power. The soldiers opened fire, but before the shots could reach her, a wave of blue energy burst from her body. It spread like lightning, throwing the soldiers back. Their weapons melted in their hands, and the snow around them turned to steam. Aaron stared in disbelief. The light surrounded her, rising in spirals. For a moment he could see another figure within the glow, a tall woman with the same white hair and glowing eyes. It wasn't Lyra, it was her mother. The energy faded slowly. Lyra collapsed to the ground, breathing hard. Aaron crawled to her side and held her in his arms. You saved us, he said softly. Lyra shook her head weakly. No, she did. Aaron looked out at the destruction. The soldiers were gone. Silence filled the ruins again, broken only by the wind. He held Lyra close, realizing what had just happened. Her mother's power had awakened through her, and now the entire galaxy would know she was alive. The storm had finally ended. The sky was quiet again, painted in shades of silver and blue. The snow around the ruins shimmered faintly where Lyra's power had touched it. Steam rose from the melted ground, curling into the cold air like ghosts of the battle that had just ended. Aaron sat beside Lyra, holding her hand. She was breathing, weak but alive. Her glow had dimmed again, but her body was still warm. The wind brushed her white hair across her face. He moved it gently away. You're safe, he said softly. It's over. Lyra opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was faint. No, it's not over yet. Aaron frowned. What do you mean? She looked up toward the sky. She's coming. Before he could ask who, a deep vibration ran through the ground. The air trembled. Far above the clouds, something massive was descending. Aaron looked up in awe. A ship, larger than any human vessel, was breaking through the clouds, its surface glowing like liquid metal. It moved silently, yet the air shook with its presence. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "It's her," she whispered. "My mother." The ship hovered above the mountain ruins. A column of blue light descended from its center, touching the ground near them. The snow turned to mist within its glow. Then a tall figure appeared, graceful, radiant and strong. The woman's skin was the same pale silver as Lyra's, her hair long and bright white. Her eyes shone with power and sadness. She wore armor of crystal and steel, symbols of an ancient kingdom carved across her chest. She stepped forward and the air seemed to bend around her. Aaron stared, unable to speak. He knew instantly who she was, the alien queen, Avelra, the ruler of the Arkena. The one the human fleet had feared for decades. The one everyone thought was dead. Lyra tried to stand, but Aaron supported her. The queen looked at them both. Her gaze softened when she saw her daughter. "Lyra," she said, her voice calm but filled with emotion, "you survived." Lyra took a step forward, tears streaming down her face. "You told me to run. I thought I lost you." Avelra knelt, wrapping her arms around her daughter. The moment was silent, only the sound of the wind between them. Aaron stood back, feeling like an outsider witnessing something sacred. "You did well, my child," the queen said softly. "You carried what I could not. You protected the last spark of our people's power." Lyra looked at her mother's face. "I couldn't have done it alone," she said. "He saved me." Avelra turned her eyes toward Aaron. They were calm, ancient, and searching. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she walked closer. Aaron stood straight, trying not to show fear. He had fought soldiers, drones, storms, but standing before her made him feel small. "You are human," Avelra said. "Yes," Aaron replied quietly. "Your kind hunted us, burned our cities, killed our children," she said. "And yet you protected mine." Aaron didn't flinch. "Because she needed help. And because what happened in the past doesn't have to happen again." The queen studied him. Then slowly she reached out and placed her hand on his chest. A faint light spread from her palm. "You risked your life for her. For that you are no enemy of mine." Lyra smiled faintly, watching them. "He gave me his coat," she said softly. "He gave me warmth when the world was cold." Avelra looked down at the worn coat still around Lyra's shoulders. She touched it gently, her expression tender. "A simple act," she said, "but it changed everything." Aaron glanced toward the sky where more human ships were approaching. "You need to leave," he said. "They'll come for both of you." The queen turned her gaze upward. "Let them come," she said. "They have taken much from me. But they will not take her." She looked back at Aaron. "You have seen what we are. Tell your people what you saw. Tell them we are not monsters." Aaron nodded slowly. "I will." Lyra stepped closer, taking his hand. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything," he smiled. "You don't need to thank me. Just live." The queen raised her hand. The blue light surrounded her and Lyra. The air shimmered as they began to rise. Snow swirled around them like glowing dust. Lyra looked down one last time. "Goodbye, Aaron," she said softly. Aaron watched as the light carried them upward into the great ship. It rose silently into the clouds, leaving only calm behind. He stood there for a long time, staring at the sky. The coat still hung loose in his hands, the faint scent of alien flowers clinging to it. The war might still rage, he thought, but for the first time, he believed peace was possible. Somewhere among the stars a queen had returned, and a human had earned her trust.